listening to IMO, in my opinion, with J&M. John, what's going on, man? How are you?
This shit's gotta stop. I'm bored out of my mind, but I do see light at the end of the tunnel in the form of that Bulls doc that's coming out in just a couple of days.
Yeah,
And
that does sound interesting.
I feel like I'm not the only one excited about it. Chicagoans aren't the only ones excited about it. As a matter of fact, I saw LeBron James. Oh my God, I can't even talk to him.
What was his last name again?
James. LeBron James.
I think everybody's excited about that, man.
Yeah,
Jordan,
he tweeted something about it. Well, he's got shit to do, so I'm pretty sure he's excited about watching it. Everybody
the
is.
best team ever. I mean, why wouldn't anybody be excited about that? It's Jordan. Everything about Jordan is huge. Everything. Literally, say something stupid because I already see it in your face.
You were a bigger Pippen fan than you were Jordan.
I am still a bigger Pippen fan than I was a Jordan fan. I think Pippen is one of the most underrated basketball players ever. I mean, he was great. Great. I mean, he was all defensive, great offensive player, could finish. I mean, he was a little weak in his first couple of years coming out of college, but after that, when he started working out, he got shredded like Jordan. When Jordan came back for the last three titles, Pippen was a beast, man.
I'll give him some slack because when you come into the league and you're playing with, even at that time, they were like, holy shit, Jordan is like going to be the best of all time. Or he's really great now. You're kind of intimidated. So I will cut him some slack because, I mean, when you're coming into the league, you're kind of shy, kind of scared. And then coming into the league on a team with a great player, you got to cut him some slack.
Who else was on the Bulls team that year? Well, what year are we going to talk about? Let's start with
We're talking about the fucking dynasty.
Do you want to start with like the best team, the 72 and 10, the 96, 97?
Sure.
Let's look at that roster. Let's see who they had that year.
Well, obviously, who jumps off the
page? Jordan Pippen,
Dennis Rodman right after.
Here,
right?
I'll tell you the whole roster. So the roster was Randy Brown, Judd Bushler,
Useless.
Jason Caffey.
I don't even remember him.
Bison Dealey, Ron Harper.
You butchered that name.
Michael Jordan, Steve Kerr, Tony Kukoc.
Go back. Ron Harper.
Have
You ever realized that he looks like the love child of Jordan and Pippen?
I don't see that. You see the weirdest things.
You're blind.
John.
You're blind.
Okay. Ron Harper, Michael Jordan, Steve Kerr, Tony Kukoc, Luke Longley, Robert Parrish was on that team for some reason.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Dickie Simpkins, Matt something. I'm not even going to try it at all. And Bill Wennington.
Bill Wennington, the glue of that team. He held that thing together.
Yeah, he was the one that they really needed to get. That was a pretty good team, man. They're solid. I mean, if you look at the majority of the names there, they were pretty solid at what they did.
There's a pretty big drop off after the Dennis Rodman, then Tony Kukoc.
It went from Rodman to Robert Parrish.
But you didn't need that much after Jordan and Pippen.
That's true. I mean, Jordan was averaging like 30-something in the playoffs and the finals. And the regular season, I think he was pretty close to like 30 points or at 30
Monster.
Points. And Pippen was playing pretty good in the last three titles too, except he kept blowing his back out, but because he was always injured sometimes. Steve Kerr was shooting lights out too, and Tony Kukoc was playing pretty good too.
It was, man. Did anybody stand a chance against them? I don't think anybody did.
I think Orlando would have been their best matchup because I mean they had Penny Hardaway, they had Shaq, they had Dennis Scott was shooting trays. Who's the other guy? The other shooter? Nick Anderson.
Dennis Scott,
Nick
Anderson, yeah.
He was a good shooter. I mean, they were probably the team that I think people thought were gonna knock them out because they knocked them out in when Jordan retired, when Pippen was playing by himself.
Didn't they
Orlando
knock
knocked
him
them
out
out.
when Jordan came back? He played
Oh,
like
that too.
half
Yeah, that half
a
season
year. Yeah,
when he was wearing 45 or whatever. Yeah, that happened too. Who else? I mean, the Knicks were good though. Like I remember those battles with like Patrick Ewing.
Well, you know what? When you go back, you start to realize how many people didn't win a championship
Because of Michael Jordan?
Jordan,
Great players too.
Yeah,
Like they were talking about that on First Take the other day about who was the worst, who had the worst, the worst, I guess, situation where like they never won anything because of Michael Jordan.
there was
And he was one of the biggest names.
There was plenty.
Patrick Ewing, I think Steve Smith, he said Patrick Ewing was the worst because like he was really good, but like nobody knows him because of that, right? Like when you think of greatest players, you don't throw Patrick Ewing's name in it.
No, just because no championship.
Yeah, he never won.
Yeah.
And then I think Max Kellerman was like the person who suffered the most was Kobe Bryant, which I can understand.
How so?
Because if Jordan didn't exist, let's say the games were the same. Let's say Kobe would have developed the same game, right? If Jordan didn't exist, Kobe would have been the greatest player. But since Jordan came first, Kobe's always second fiddle. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we don't know how Kobe would have turned out if Jordan didn't exist, because who knows whose game he would have stole.
Yeah, that was going to be my question. Who was he going to be copying?
Sure, but again, let's just say everything stayed the same.
Allen Iverson?
Let's say everything.
He was already in the league, kind of.
Let's say it stayed the same. Kobe would have went down as the greatest basketball player to ever play.
Yeah, but no.
Yeah. Back to the Bulls. Phil Jackson was coaching. Great coach. I mean, we talked about this before. Is it really the coaching or was it the players?
It's like that Bill Belichick, Tom Brady thing. Is it who's more
important to the team?
Yeah.
That's a great question. I mean, I think Phil had something to do with it. I mean, he was waving all that essence stuff in the whatever. He was a big spiritual
dude. Making them do yoga.
Yeah, I mean, I think he had a lot to do with it.
But you had two of the greatest pairs of basketball players ever.
I'm gonna tell you who didn't have anything to do with it and took a lot of credit. Jerry Krause, that fat bastard. Yeah, he literally said that he was like he won the titles. I mean, don't get me wrong. He put the pieces together, right? Because that's part of it, right? But you don't play. You're not even close to anything that has to do with play. So like, shut up. Sign checks.
He reminds me of Crane from Ninja Turtles.
For people that don't know, that Krang is a brain that's inside a robot.
Oh, please look it up. We don't got time to explain it to these young kids.
That's a great cartoon. Yeah, I couldn't believe when he said that. I think Jordan took that really, really hard.
That's why he left, right?
Yeah, it was it's one of the reasons, and then one of the fact that Phil didn't want to coach, but that was one of the reasons I think Phil left more than anything. Because I think if Phil would have stayed, Jordan would have stayed. Now, you mentioned this. How many titles would they have won if they would have stayed together? They would have won against Houston.
They what?
They would have killed Houston.
Yeah. For these people saying, especially people from Houston,
Kenny
and the people
Smith
on the team, Kenny Smith, offender number one, we would have won even if Jordan. Stop it, because you didn't win before or after. So stop.
It's not like you guys were that old. I mean, Hakeem wasn't in the greatest shape, but still, it's not like you guys were like 20 years.
That was the only problem. Who was gonna guard Olajuwon?
Rodman. Easy money.
Did we have him
in '96? Yeah.
96? No.
You mean in the years that they won? That's the question. Would the team still be the same? Because
you think Luke Longley or Bill Wennington could have handled them? No, I don't think so.
Well, I don't think Luke Longley was on that team. Was on the first three teams either. He was. Who knows if we would have drafted him? So
I'm just saying that was their only. problem.
you mean like the team that was there plus Jordan at the time? Let me go ahead. Keep going with that. So I'm gonna look that up.
I mean, yeah, he would have been their only problem. Kenny Smith, please. I think Vernon Maxwell was there. He was the main focus on their team. He was their elite scorer. He had moves. You can't deny that. He busted up Shaq pretty good in the
Who?
playoffs.
Hakeem?
Huh?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, but Hakeem had. I don't think Jordan. I don't think Shaq was a great defender, right? He was just really big, so he can like outpower you. But if you had moves, you could score on Shaq.
Oh, he was juking him left and right.
Yeah, I mean, even like Yao Ming was scoring on him with moves. Paul Gasol used to score on him with moves. I mean, you could score on Shaq as long as you got moves. If you try to overpower him, then you're out of luck. But it's not like he was an amazing defender, right?
So here's the biggest thing. You got Hakeem Olajuwon on one team and Scotty and Pippen on another. I mean, Jordan and Pippen on another. Who you taking?
Say it again. I'm sorry, I didn't catch it. Say it again.
You've got Hakeem on one team,
Uh-huh.
and you've got Jordan and Pippen on the other.
Jordan Pippen. Are you kidding me?
Obviously.
That's not even a question. I'll take Jordan and Pippen in majority of the situations except against Shaq and Kobe. That's a toss-up.
I'll take Jordan, Pippen, me, you, and my young brother against him.
Man, I don't know. Okay, so in 1990, the 1994-95 season, I'll tell you the roster. So the roster was B.J. Armstrong, Corey something, Judd Bushler, JoJo English, who could shoot the ball pretty well, Greg Foster, Ron Harper, Michael Jordan, wearing 45, Steve Kerr, Tony Kukoc, Luke Longley, Pete Myers, Will Perdue, Scottie Pippen, Dickie Simpkins, and Bill Wennington. So it's relatively similar.
Yeah.
You swapped out maybe Pete Myers for Dennis Rodman. It's a great swap out, but
I would say.
That team was just so hard to beat, man. It's just Jordan. I think Jordan was more than just points. I think his drive made other players want to play like that, and I think that's what the mindset was. The mindset was kind of equal amongst the team. You know, they were all killers. Like Jordan was a killer. Everybody wanted to be a killer.
Well, yeah. To answer your question, I think they could have rattled off like 9 in a row. Really.
What would have been the 2 against Houston
and the
shortened season
99? Maybe they would have played against the Spurs. Yeah, and they would have.
That would have been an interesting matchup.
Yeah, 2. I think Robinson and Duncan was there. Yeah.
Yeah, they were there. Robinson and Duncan were there. Who else was there? Was Ginobili and them weren't there yet, right?
No. This was way before. I think Sean Elliott, short dude. Who was their point guard? The loudmouth, Steve Avery. You remember him?
Avery Johnson?
Yeah.
The governor, the mayor guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So who wins that one? The Bulls.
The Bulls win, yeah.
So,
the Bulls were kind of getting old too. So who knows?
I think that's the last one they would have won.
But what happened to the Jazz in '99? Were they in the playoffs that year?
Yeah, of course they were in the playoffs.
But what happened to them? Who eliminated them? So it was the Spurs and who played in 1999? That's. I guess I need to look that up. So I don't remember who played in '99. Who were the finals?
I don't remember. Was it no? It wasn't the Lakers, was it? No. Obviously, because of the West. Was it Patrick Ewing?
It was the Knicks in San Antonio.
I remember that.
It was the Knicks in San Antonio.
Oh my God, it's all flooding back to me. I was in a father and son.
So what a shock that you were stuffing your face with pizza.
You know my fat ass. I mean, come on.
I mean, father and son is good pizza. Too bad it doesn't really exist anymore. But
what a shame.
So the Spurs would have got beat by the Bulls, right? That's pretty.
No. The Bulls would have beat the Spurs.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I said that wrong. The Bulls would have beat the Spurs. I'm pretty sure that's pretty safe to say, right?
Yeah. Now, after that, it's 50-50. I don't know if they would have beat the Lakers of the.
That's it. That's more of a.
Lakers.
But that's more of a. Yeah, that's weird because that's situational. Because some of the Bulls players were playing on the Lakers, and Phil Jackson was over there. So like Ron Harper got traded over there. He won in 2000 with the Lakers. Phil was over there, so who knows how that would have ended up. Like who would have been coaching them? Phil
might not have been with the Lakers after that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So,
That's why it's up in the air. If I guess if you use the same, if everything stayed the same, I still think the Lakers would have won because Shaq was like super unstoppable
too
that year.
young, too strong. The Bulls had nobody. I mean, who are you trusting to guard them?
That's
Not
the
too
thing.
many people
Yeah.
can.
I don't think even when Shaq was younger, I think Dennis did pretty good, but Dennis still was getting scored on. You know?
Oh yeah, he was
And
for sure.
then you got Kobe, young Kobe, going crazy, missing shots, of course.
Still not prime Kobe.
Yeah, he wasn't the seasoned Kobe yet. And I don't know if Pippen would have been able to guard him at the time. I mean, a few years later, there's that big highlight where Kobe crossed the shit out of Pippen and did that alley oop to Shaq.
That's
when he was
another
playing
one.
with Portland or
Portland.
with Portland.
They should have won. They had that game won.
Oh yeah, they had what's that big dude? Rasheed Wallace was on that team.
Sabonis.
Yeah, they had a really good team. I don't understand why they struggled so bad. I mean, they ran into the Lakers. It's like you could almost say the 2000 Lakers, 2000, 2001, 2002, they stopped a lot of players from winning championships.
Yeah, that actually was the turning point when they beat the Blazers in that. I believe it was like a 15, 16-point comeback, I think.
Yeah. I remember that. Damn, and that was a good team. But then again, the Lakers again against the Bulls at that time, I think the Bulls would have struggled.
Yeah, I mean, once again, you have Shaq there and nobody really to guard him, or nobody capable of stopping him.
And then the role players, I mean, Ron Harper would have guarded Ron Harper, I guess. That would have zeroed themselves out. Fisher was kind of young at the time. He wasn't really playing much. Who else was on that Lakers team?
I want to say Eddie Jones.
Maybe. But Eddie Jones, he got traded because I think that was the year that because Eddie Jones used to start over Kobe when like in '99 and '98 and those years, and I think when they started starting Kobe, like Eddie Jones got all pissed off of that shit, and I think I don't know if he left or he was still there or not, but
how about that bug-eyed Nick Van Exel?
He was still there. Rick Fox was there.
Oh, bum.
Rick Fox was not a bum. He was solid, man. He was solid. He was dependable.
I'll tell you what was solid.
The left hook
uppercut that Doug Christie hit him with.
Oh man. Speaking of Kobe Bryant, the Hall of Fame got announced a couple weeks ago. I know there's more than this, the three that we're going to talk about, but the three headlining are elite players, right? Well deserving of being in the Hall of Fame.
This is probably going to be one of the best classes that we ever have.
This is going to be one of the best classes that we're not going to be able to hear speeches about or see them do this on TV because it's this whole COVID-19 thing.
And because Kobe sadly passed away.
Oh yeah, that's sad. Well, let's talk a little bit about him. KG's going to go in this year. Monster, right?
I mean, yeah, for Minnesota, I felt bad for him because he really didn't have any help. But he does have that one championship with Boston when it was
they did the big three
formation of the first super team, if you will.
Yeah, man. I mean, his numbers are pretty up there. I mean, they're pretty solid. I don't think he has amazing numbers, but his accolades are. He's got a lot of stuff behind him. He's got a championship. He's got countless All-Stars. He's got an MVP, a Defensive Player of the Year. His resume is pretty large.
Yeah, two of these guys were straight out of high school, Kobe and Garnett.
And KG. That's right. KG's right from here. He's one of us. He's from Chicago, went to Farragut.
Talks
local
a lot
star.
Of shit.
Talks a hell of a lot of shit. I mean, he's crazy. He does the whole bumping his head in the to the bottom of the support of the rim in the beginning of the game. He's crazy, but I mean, that's part of what he brought to the table. He brought that intensity, and again, kind of like Jordan, like you kind of followed it. Like if he plays with intensity, you play with intensity. And I think that helped that team because they won against the Lakers when Kobe's Lakers were getting pretty good with Paul Gasol and Andrew Bynum and those boys, and that was a pretty hard team to beat.
Yeah, it was, but I mean, there was too much firepower there with
Paul Pierce, Ray Allen.
Ray Allen. A good Paul Pierce.
Who was that other short dude that Eddie House? Eddie House made
Eddie House.
big buckets, man.
Really? I don't remember him ever making
Really?
a bucket.
He would make like threes, like because he came off the bench. I remember him giving. He would always like spark like at least 6 points when you needed them, 7 points when you needed them, 8 points when you needed them, like off the bench. Like I remember that team was pretty solid.
Mike Bibby taught him everything he knows. I think he's married to his sister or something.
Who's their big guy? Perkins.
Kendrick Perkins.
He was pretty solid too. That whole team was pretty
Did
solid.
score
And
shit
Doc
ton.
Rivers.
See that Twitter war that he was in with Durant? You're not gonna win that, so stop.
Yeah, I mean,
He scored what, 5 points a game? Come on.
Then they had Doc Rivers was their coach. Doc Rivers was a great coach for them. He fit their style, like perfectly. Like everything that they did fit perfectly for what Doc Rivers does.
Yeah, I like Doc Rivers as a coach. He's
Yeah.
a player's coach.
So they won a title. They beat the Lakers. So Timmy's
He's
going
great, and he's the worst one out of this group.
who? KG?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, think about it, right? That should say a lot about what this class is bringing into the.
I mean, the next two guys, you got 5 apiece, right? 5 championships.
Yep,
apiece.
5 championships apiece. So the next one would be Tim Duncan. Played for the Spurs his whole career. He's got 5 championships rings, as you mentioned. He's a 2-time MVP, 3-time Finals MVP, countless All-Star appearances, 15-time All-NBA, Rookie of the Year. What else did he have? I mean, it's just the list goes on. Yeah, the list just goes. It's all there. Like it's all there.
The best thing he's ever done was that commercial with Derrick Rose, where it's like a. You didn't see it?
Is it an Adidas commercial?
Yeah.
Because I know he was signed with Adidas at one point.
Yeah, where he calls Derrick Rose or Derrick Rose calls him, and they're like, "Wow, I'm so excited!" And then he knocks over a plant or something like that. Like,
no, I have no idea. I'm gonna have to look.
You got to
that up.
watch it. No, that's the best thing he's ever done.
Man, he was, to me, what makes him interesting is like he was such a under the radar kind of killer. Like you wouldn't even know. Like if you see him, like if you didn't know who Tim Duncan was, like this, let's say the future generation. You look at Tim Duncan, like a picture of him, you say, nah, he's a bum. Bro, you are mistaken. That dude had moves for days. And I think, again, when we're talking about, people that were busts, we were talking about this before the show, people that are busts and, to me, Dwight Howard's a bust, right? Because he's just athleticism.
Yeah.
And Tim Duncan kind of proves the point in the sense of Tim Duncan lasted 20 years or 20-something years. And he was even effective till the last bucket he scored.
Yeah.
Because he had an offensive game.
Yeah.
Versus someone like Dwight Howard, who's still playing right now and is completely worthless. He's not worthless. It's just you can replace him with anyone and you'll get the same thing.
That man can still jump, though.
Yeah, it's fine. But
Tim Duncan...
Tim Duncan can
There's
score.
a reason his nickname was the Big Fundamental.
Yes.
He was fundamentally sound. Yeah, I mean, you couldn't stop the
And
guy.
Dwight Howard's fundamentally stupid because he obviously cannot learn anything from even the greats that try to teach him. Like, I don't understand. You can't be that big and play in the NBA and not have not one offensive move.
I feel like after
besides dunking.
how many years has he been in the league already? You got to develop something while you're there. You can't just
That's a great question. Has he gotten any better from when he debuted? Because I feel like he's the same freaking player.
What do you mean by he doesn't jump any higher? He doesn't dunk any harder.
He's also 7'1", so I don't think he needs to jump that high. But his game hasn't changed at all.
No, at all.
And that's sad. That's pretty sad. When people like Tim Duncan shows that skill is more valuable than athleticism.
In a game where it's the 3-pointer is the big thing now, and all your big guys are shooting threes, and he won't take a shot past the free throw line. That kind of messes it up for him, right?
That's the best decision he can make is not shoot because he can't shoot. He looks
rebound,
horribly.
he can
He
dunk.
looks horrible shooting the basketball. But again, he's Dwight. Dwight has problems, man. Again, the league has kind of changed. Obviously, the big guys don't really,
He's
exist
obsolete.
anymore.
He's
He's an
obsolete.
obsolete type of player. Um, he needs some type of game, man. I don't know if he had some type of jump hook, something that could at least.
He's on his way out. How old is he?
I don't know, whatever.
Not
He
gonna be in
sucks.
there much longer.
Back to Duncan, man. Timmy was just, man, dude. He had moves like with both hands. He knew how to post. He knew how to finish with contact. And again, he wasn't even
backboard.
that, and he wasn't even that athletic. That's the amazing. It's almost like Paul Gasol. Yeah, granted they're tall, right? But Paul Gasol is a good example, and his brother are good examples of people with touch. Like they're undersized, right? Because I mean, even Paul Gasol, as skinny as he is, if you put him up against a prime, a decently prime Shaq, which I think they did later on in Shaq's career, Paul Gasol could defend himself because he got moves,
It's
and so could Timmy.
it's fundamentals. It's being smart. It's knowing when to jump. It's not always how high you jump. So I mean, he had all that. He was a smart guy.
He was a great basketball player, and he had great players to play with, like that fit him. Tony Parker was always running around, drawing attention. Manu Ginobili was drawing attention, leaving him open, getting good shots. Like he was a great player for that system.
He was the best.
And he had
guy.
and he had a great coach. Pop was he's a great
yeah.
coach, man.
He was like the best guy, but he was like the least flashiest.
Yes.
Yeah, he was.
And now he's coaching. Now he's an assistant coach or something.
Told you
for
he
the
was
Spurs.
smart.
And then we'll go to the the main guy of the year, I guess. Kobe Bryant, man. My favorite player growing up. Sad that he's no longer with us. He went tragically too, man. Like that was a rough day, man. That was a rough day for me.
Yeah, I didn't even like the guy, and
I think you called me. Right?
Yeah, I was the one.
Because I was playing basketball that morning at a basketball game, and around halftime, one of my teammates comes up to me, and he was wearing his smartwatch or whatever, and he goes, "Hey, Kobe Bryant died," and I'm like, "Nah, you're fucking with me, right? Like this is bullshit. There's no way. Kobe's immortal. What are you talking about?" He's like, "Nah, I think Kobe Bryant died. They just said on the news." I'm like, "Yeah, we'll check it later." So the game finishes, and we go to the side, and I check my phone, and I got a missed call from you and my dad. And I look online, and it's starting to break. It's just Kobe Bryant died in a helicopter crash. And I'm just, dude, I was on my way home, driving home, and literally like, excuse me, literally almost in tears for him. I didn't even know him, and I felt like he was like my brother, like my older brother type. Like I had to defend him against everyone because all my friends were always you like everybody was big Jordan fans or Sacramento fans or whatever, and I was the only Kobe Bryant fan. And then that's why, like, to me, I felt really bad. Like I had a lot of people actually reach out to me and say, I'm sorry for Kobe Bryant or wwhatever, and I'm like,
for your loss,
even though it's not my loss, right? But man, he was a monster though, man. Like he was driven,
What can you say? 5 championships, the second best shooting guard of all time.
I'm glad you finally said that.
Um,
Good thing it's on tape. Can remind you of this day every day.
Okay, whatever. But you can't deny the guy, man. He was great, and even that whole thing with him and Shaq, like Shaq won the championship when he went to the Heat, and I'm pretty sure Shaq was like, "Oh yeah, he's not gonna win another one." And what happens? This guy wins 3 of his own. 2. Sorry.
I mean, the whole beef with Shaq and Kobe. I mean, it's interesting because it, in a way, I understand and I agree and I disagree, right? Because like, if you're in a profession, you got to take it seriously, right? It's how it goes. And I think the issue was that Kobe was way more serious about it than Shaq was. Like Shaq will come out of shape, summer and out of shape or whatever, and Kobe was ready to go. But that's who he was. I mean, you could see it, right?
Oh yeah, you can see it all the time.
He, if you want to say who is the one player or players, because I can name 2, like that wanted nothing more than to win. Like literally, like dedicated themselves to winning. Jordan and Kobe Bryant.
Yep.
That's it. Like those are the two that you see. You know, you could throw LeBron in there because I from what I hear and see, he's really dedicated to his fitness and health and all that. But like on the court, you see the drive that they wanted. You know what the goal was for them.
Yeah, and you know that's gotta piss Shaq off to no end. That he ended up with more championships than
no, of
Shaq.
course. I think he said
I think
that.
that's why they didn't talk, because he was saying, yeah, we haven't talked in a while, in a long time. I think that's partly what it's all about. That Kobe ended up being the better player at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, and I think but Kobe's thing. One of the interviews I saw before Kobe died, after he retired, was if he was chasing Jordan. And like he said, like that pissed him off. Like he wanted that 6-1 because he really wanted to beat Boston the first time.
Yeah.
When Boston won, and he's like, that would have gave me my 6th, and I wanted that championship. Like he really wanted it and lost it. Like that really burned him. Like that was one of those losses like he regretted or whatever. And right there you could see like he had a drive for the game. You know, that's like second to none. Like not a lot of people play like that. That's like a lost thing now. Like that after Kobe Bryant, he's the last of that breed.
Now everybody's friendly. They want to go out to dinner with each other.
Right. I mean that's cool. That's cool. But
it takes the fun out of it. It takes the feuds away.
Kobe wanted to rip your heart out. Literally.
Nobody really wants to do that now. They want to get their points.
You know?
If they win, yeah. If not.
And then I mean the man's accolades speak. I mean, he's 5-time champ. He's got an MVP. He's got 2 finals MVP, all-star MVPs. He's a 15-time All-NBA, 2-time scoring champ. I mean, the dude was a killer, man. He's well deserving of being in the Hall of Fame.
Sucks that he's not going to be able to be there.
Yeah, that's
the worst part.
Yeah.
Speaking of somebody who's not there, that should be there, Chris Webber. When are these people going to stop fucking around? The voters need to vote that guy in.
Let me say something. You and I are novice at this sporting talk radio crap. And we know a very minuscule amount of information, analytics, and all that. If those people who are in charge of voting are smarter and more capable of choosing someone that like they know more than we do, right? And they don't pick him, what the hell do you know that they don't know?
Everybody is against this man.
Why? Because
NBA
he called a timeout in the wrong at the wrong time.
His teammates that told him to do that are against this man.
Oh my God.
The voters are against this man. Since when does 20, 11, and 4.5 assists a game? Since when does that not get you into the Hall of Fame? Over a 15-year career, 16 years, 17 years. Come on.
Everything else does. All the other accolades that he doesn't have is what keeps him from going to the Hall of Fame. Unfortunately, I mean, again, I don't think he was a bad player. I think he was a really good
they
power
got
forward
screwed versus the Lakers, and if they would have went past the Lakers, they would have beat the New Jersey Nets.
Sure, but that didn't happen, now did it?
But it should have.
We don't know that. We don't know that.
You just said sure.
Okay, I'll grant you that there was bad calls, but at the end of the day, the ball didn't go into the basket. At the end, that's what it's all about.
That was like the worst officiated game of all time.
Sure, I'll grant you that, but at the end of the day, you have to score more than the other player.
It's
right?
hard to score when they're calling fouls on you.
And you adjust as a good basketball player. You have to adjust. It would be like saying Michael Jordan, when he was young, getting beat up by Boston and Detroit and those boys, they had to adjust to win, right? The calls weren't getting called back then. That would have been
players. How do you adjust to the refs? You got to stop playing. It's kind of a contact sport.
Correct.
I mean, you can call a foul at any time. It's very odd that you would call a crap ton of fouls in the fourth quarter of that game. Come on. Worst officiated game ever.
It probably is. Whatever. My team won.
Those are pretty good
Chris
numbers
Webber,
over a career.
look,
Come on,
he
they're good
might make
numbers.
he might make the Hall of
I
Fame.
bet you it's almost like Garnett's.
Listen,
It's got to be
yes, but Garnett has all the other stuff.
one championship over him.
He's got a lot more All NBAs than he does.
But
He's got a Defensive Player of the
He
Year.
was competing against a lot of great big men in the West.
Yes. And that's okay. And I get it. But
So-
you cannot say, okay, he was never going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Let's just scratch that out the wall. Let's just scratch it. Right?
To me,
How many
he's
years
the
has he-
greatest of all time?
No, he's not the greatest of all time. You're out of your freaking mind. How many years has he been eligible already? Like 3, 4?
Couple, 2, 3.
Okay.
Something like that.
So he hasn't been voted in, let's just say 2 years, 3 years. Right? That should tell you something. He had numbers. Yes. Fine. He had decent numbers. He doesn't have anything else to his name. And I think that eventually he'll make the Hall of Fame. But then that's not saying much because the majority of people make the Hall of Fame.
I will make a whole show about how he needs to be in there.
Oh God, please let's just put him in the Hall of Fame. Then I don't want to hear about this anymore.
Thank you.
No man, I think he did. Excuse me. I think he should go in. I think there's a lot of people that need to go in before him, and that's kind of where I have my issue. You know, he wasn't he wasn't in the news like that. He wasn't on Sports Center like that. No one talked about him like that. He wasn't dominant like that. He was good. He wasn't dominant though.
I feel like he was a great all-around power forward.
Was he dominant like Karl Malone? No.
Was he better than Karl?
Was he dominant? No, he was not.
Not scoring, but he had John Stockton, man.
Listen,
come on.
Was he more dominant than KG was at his position?
I think he
was he more dominant than Tim Duncan?
I think he was better than KG. Not better than Tim Duncan. I think he was better than.
You think he was better than KG?
Yeah.
I think you're on your own on that one right there. But yeah, maybe one day. Maybe when they add the broadcasting part to his name.
I'm giving these people 5 years, and then I'm gonna be really pissed.
Okay, so in 5 years, Jonathan's gonna be really pissed because Chris Webber's not in the Hall of Fame yet. But yeah, I think we covered a lot today. I think we should just cut it right here. This was a pretty interesting show. I think the Bulls. When you talk about the Bulls, it's always interesting, you know. And getting a few minutes to talk about the Hall of Fame was cool. But yeah, I think we're gonna cut it right here. You got anything else you want to add to it at the end?
Chris Webber, Hall of Fame, 2025 class, please.
Okay, yeah.
Make it happen.
I think we'll leave it there.
Let's start a movement.
Thanks to everybody for listening today. Like, comment, subscribe. If you have any questions or anything, just post them down in the comment section, and we'll see you guys next week.